Sam-Bankman Fried, Carlos Watson, Miss Thanos herself, Elizabeth Holmes. These are people that were picked out as top entrepreneurs, and unfortunately, they have committed heinous crimes and are either in jail or on trial because of the fraud, theft that they've committed. What's your thought process on scarcity mindset?
I think scarcity mindset is driven by factors that you might not really know yourself, but they've been a part of you for a long time. And I think you're in a search for something greater, something bigger, and something that gives you like that gratification that maybe you haven't gotten your whole life. So you find yourself taking shortcuts to get there. So when you see an opportunity that might not seem ethical, you're going to jump on it and really turn up the dial, because if you lose this one opportunity, you don't know when the next gold rush might come again. Remember that one black kid who was like super young and he spoke and acted like a doctor?
He did multiple. He did that multiple times.
And he finessed everybody. And then he finally found out that this guy is actually a fraud.
You know, what are your thoughts on stealing people's content? And here's the thing too, though, is that as creatives, in order to start, you kind of need to steal to start, you know? What we'll be discussing in this episode of Hustle Over Everything is the mindset that makes entrepreneurs lie. We reveal our own lying to a brand story, and we discuss if copying a creative style is flattery or theft. All that and a lot more on this episode. If you get any value from this episode, please hit subscribe. Now let's jump into the show. Hello and welcome. Hustle Over Everything podcast. This is a podcast where we receive stories, tips, and tactics from entrepreneurs who have done it. I'm Alex.
And I'm Ono Sinde.
Today, we're talking about lying and cheating.
Before you move on, mention the one that's going on, the biggest one right now.
Oh, the biggest one right now.
Caesar?
DJ Envy and Caesar.
Pina,
that's the biggest one
DJ
right now.
Envy.
Yeah.
That is definitely one of the biggest ones right now. And it's sad because it was right there in front of everybody.
We were there when they were promoting it. We were in Atlanta for InvestFest, and we sat through their whole pitch in front of the whole thing. So these guys were claiming outrageous returns, like 21% returns on real estate, which is insane, crazy, because that means like on a steady year, you're still getting 20% each and every single time. You might get, it's cyclical, right? But it's never been 20%. So I remember sitting there and I'm like, who is this Caesar guy? You know, NJ flipping, what's his handle on
Yeah, NJ flipping something.
And bro, and this is the thing with these kind of platforms, right? I love InvestFest, I love EYL, but globally, people who get platformed on these stages, whether it's TEDx or maybe it's Collision or Web Summit or anything like that, they immediately get classified as up next, right? They've discovered a breakthrough in something that everybody can get value from. So when you have these type of people take advantage of these platforms, the audience member, if you look at the framework of how that is, like they're up on stage, they must know something that I don't. And here I am, I paid a ticket to be here. So whatever is being told by that stage, people have done their due diligence to be able to bring these people and actually speak on what they know about. So who's to blame here, you know? Isaac. You owe me another 10 bud.
I didn't turn down the volume, bro.
10 each.
I had the Raptors playing on the Bluetooth and everything. But yeah, bro, so you know what I'm saying? This the type of thing that goes on is these media publications, Forbes, the radio shows, the popular podcast hosts who bring on guests who are not really vetted, conferences. It just sets people up to be hoodwinked with information that is coming from people with like intentions only for themselves.
Why do you think they did that? Like, why do you think Caesar did that? Like with the co-sign from DJ Envy, he had the opportunity to really build something. Why do you guys think he actually went through with that?
Can I give my opinion on that?
100% Isaac, bro. I've been waiting.
Caesar has been saying since he first came out that he learned his real estate knowledge in jail. Now, if you know the real about jail is not a place of rehabilitation. Jail is like a big conference for criminals. You go in there and you get smarter and you get better at being a criminal, because it isn't rehabilitation. It's you literally congregating with these people every single day. Now, mistakes are mistakes. You don't want to judge somebody based off their past, but he got into jail for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, him trying to turn his life around and do all these different things legally, it just takes that one small little crack to put you right back down that rabbit hole. And I think that whatever he was doing before he went to jail wouldn't get him the money that he could get in that real estate field. So I think he mixed the two.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he mixed the criminal with the legit and really tried to get away with it because he had somebody like Envy who's going to popularize it and give it to the world. So that's my opinion on it. I think that him just learning from that criminal mindset anyways, it was just bound to happen.
Okay.
But the way you said that, like jail doesn't rehab anybody. Do you 100% agree with that? Do you think jail doesn't rehab anybody?
I think
100%.
it doesn't really. It might make you feel remorseful for what you did. But what do they say? Birds that flock together stay. You know, people.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty much that. So when you're around people who are crooks and you're talking about stories of what you did and everything, that energy mixed with that floating aggression that's like roaming around the same place.
Yeah.
You don't immediately come out and you're like, I'm a changed man, right? It's like you still have the residue of the criminality inside jail.
But look at Wallow, though. Like someone like Wallow.
So that's I feel like that's a rare example. But also you have to look at it like this. When you go to a rehab facility, right? They literally help you get better. Whether it's giving you medicine, checking up on you every day, going through different types of therapy. In jail, you have to do that on your own.
Yeah.
You have to make that realization that Wallow had on your own. So that's not rehab. Real rehab, somebody is helping you. But in jail, you're not being helped. You're literally fend for yourself, feed you to the wolves. You're going to latch on and be around whoever you feel makes you feel safe. So there's no way in this jail system that it can be rehabilitation. But you have places like Switzerland and Sweden and stuff like that where their jail is legitimate rehab.
It's actually
These guys
like a
don't
house.
even have jail cells.
They don't. They have a crib.
They have a room with a TV.
with Wi-Fi.
with channels.
They
with
can
channels.
just open the door, walk out.
With Netflix.
You know what I mean? Because
And
they
do
actually
anything.
trust their people, and I think their crime rate or the people that come out of jail, they're like 90% in not going back. Here, go search up that number here. That number
Yeah,
here is
and also take it in, right? Someone who's going to jail, that character has been built over a long period of time. It's hard to change behavior, right? Especially when you go to jail and you're told to sit in a cell and sit there and do the same thing every single day routine. You come in, you come out, you might go to the library, you might go to the gym, but you're so confined in this particular space. There's no room for growth. So how does character even develop? How do you even make a change for the better? It's a decision you have to make when you leave jail to be like, I want to do better. But if you see an opportunity, be like, okay, this seems legit, but I can finesse it. I can recoup my dead time I had in jail and make more money. That's why the scarcity mindset that you're talking about comes in.
Now, let's get back to us, because we're everyday people. Not all of us are actually going to jail or touching jail. How do you think that affects us as everyday entrepreneurs? One of mine that affects me is over-promising. That's one of the big ones that I find.
Yeah.
How about y'all?
In delivering something?
This when it comes to the entrepreneurship life.
So you said yours is over-promising. Delivering something like, hey, I'll get that to you by tomorrow, but it might be Thursday. So you feel like you're lying. So you're lying to yourself and you're lying to the customer.
I think what happened to me previously, like before I dealt with it, was that when I had a scarcity mindset, I'd go to somebody that I'm trying to close and be like, whatever you need, I can get it done. You know, and I think that's like one of the biggest things that a lot of entrepreneurs cannot do is this saying yes to close the deal, no matter what, and then be, all right, now I got to figure it out. You know, because it can work one time, it can work two times, but if you have that as your philosophy going forward, that's where you're gonna.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
It's just gonna pile up on you anyways.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You need to create like the actual system of execution, so you're making the consistent process.
Yeah.
continuously.
It's pretty much like trying to forecast things that seem possible, but you don't have proof that they are possible. It's more of like an internal dialogue you have with yourself saying, yes, this is achievable, but you over forecast your numbers, your projections, what can get done, and you don't really factor in external variables that might come in your way and make you, maybe not get to where you want to be. So you share these numbers, projections. Yes, we can deliver that. We can deliver that. We can do this. We'll do this in sales. We'll do this in acquisition of certain things. But it's a lie. It's a lie because you're trying to overcompensate for maybe. This podcast is brought to you by Nyorai Cellars. If you didn't know, Nyorai Cellars is the only Black-owned wine company in Canada. Right now, I'm holding the Rosé, the 2021 Rosé bottle. This drink is amazing. I mean, it's perfect for those dishes such as seafood, where you're cooking shrimp, you're having some pasta, whatever it is you're having. Grab a bottle of Nyorai Cellars, the Rosé. If you're having a date night with your significant other, you know what to grab. Grab the Nyorai. Whatever it is, grab the Nyorai. I mean, you will not go wrong with this wine. It's perfect for everybody. If you've never drank wine, this is a great bottle for you. Or even if you're a wine expert, you're an aficionado and you drink everything. I mean, you cannot go in Nyorai. I'm telling you, this wine is really, really good. And even though I'm boosting it this hard, is because I really love drinking it. And I'm someone who loves to drink wine. So whatever it is, whatever the special occasion, check out Nyorai. They have Sauvignon Blancs, they have Rieslings. I'm holding the Rosé right now. They have a wide variety of different collections of different wines you can choose from. Make sure to check them out. The link is going to be in the description. Check them out. Order a crate for yourself, or you can send a gift to someone that you want to gift some wine to. You can't go wrong with that. So Nyorai Cellars, check them out. Link will be in the description. And now back to the show. So, not looking as if you're making the wrong, especially think about it as an entrepreneur, right? You've made the decision to go all out by yourself. Right. For example, you, Isaac, you're going out as a videographer and you're thinking, man, I'm going to do this business. So you kind of have to have a little bit of delusional mindset, because bro, if you don't have that, you stand no chance. We're going to have maybe 50K in sales. Well, every other business does 80K in the first year. Right. So that kind of not having the belief in yourself, you're not doing yourself a disservice. It's actually better to lie a little bit to yourself than to actually try to be very reserved. I think we can do it, because that mindset doesn't even inspire the people you're trying to bring on. Right. So actually you need to inspire others to get them to believe in you.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying?
You have to lie to yourself. So it's a slippery slope, because in order to make it, you have to use the same muscle, the mental muscle of lying to yourself to push you forward. But you have to be able to turn it off when talking to other people, because then you can lead them down the same slope, but over promise. That is the big thing.
Bro, entrepreneurs are the biggest liars out there. Every single way. The way you might be the most honest guy, but lying is part of the game. You got to lie to your employees and tell them, hey, I don't think you're going to get laid off. Boom. The next 2 weeks, you get an email. I'm sorry, guys. Everyone's getting laid off. But you told me you're not going to lay me off. Right?
Shoulder shrug. Because at that time that I told you, I wasn't going to lay you off.
Yeah, bro. Think about the Rose and Kawhi. Right? It's money has no emotions, bro.
Facts.
Right? When it's straight business, it's just hey, look, at the time, this was the information I had. But with this information, I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
But you lied to me. I was I did, but numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Think about numbers are the most consistent thing out there. Everything begins and ends with a number. Every decision you make ends and begins with a number. Anywhere in your life. That's the most constant thing. The only thing that lies is your words and how you feel about certain things.
Facts.
To a point.
Okay.
But I don't want to get into semantics.
Yeah.
But so we
What was your question again?
When's the first, what do you lie about every day?
No, I was saying, when was the time that you lied about, what was the time you lied in your entrepreneurship journey?
Oh man. Okay. I mean, I got another story. I think you know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, the square. Bro, you can get there in the future. Beep that out, editor, please.
Bro, that out. Square is actually a company too.
Yes, but I was giving them a hint I wasn't saying square. I was saying like.
But if entrepreneurs use Square.
Yes.
But he was just trying to say a different name.
I'll
So
show
that
you
he didn't
different
say
names.
that.
Bro, but when you say Square to me, I'm thinking Square. Because Square, that if
He's
you
like,
told me,
no.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's how this happened, right? I was trying to hint to you. I was trying to hint to you that it was so you can be on the same shit.
He's like, no.
But bruh. Why?
No, you're right. You're right, bro.
No,
But
you're
I
right.
know, I know.
But he wasn't trying to say the
I was trying to
name.
say, because I'm like, yo, we never know. We could get too.
All right.
That's what so I was trying to hint at it. But I should have said, I don't know, what can I have said?
You just said redacted, and then he would have caught on.
Yeah, something. They're not Square. I'm like, Square's actually a company that we can actually go. Because that Cash App too.
Shout out Square. Square is awesome. Word, I should have said redacted. Thank you. So maybe when you worked with Redacted.
Yes, when we worked with Redacted.
All right. So did we talk about the story about Redacted?
No, you guys never told me the story. No.
I want to say or shall I?
But on that case too, the
Go ahead.
Redacted company.
Yes.
You still have shame about that? Is that why you don't want to mention them?
No, it's because you never know if you want to work with them in the future.
But I think it's part of the podcast we're doing it, isn't it?
For sure, but
It's part of the theme.
Don't say names, Zach. Just don't say names.
Nah.
It's like, oh, you guys. I'm like, yeah, but we learned
This
our
is
lesson.
a part of lying in entrepreneurship.
See, we're lying right now. We're lying.
No, we're omitting.
So, bro, that's how people lie, bro.
Yes,
You omit
yes,
facts.
yes,
You omit facts.
Yes, bro.
So we're actually playing into the pod episode.
Exactly. No. It's omitting, but it's not like it's omitting to protect the brand. Is what
Yeah,
we're doing.
you wanna
We're
protect
protecting
the brand.
You know,
This guy's trying to call them out.
call them out. You gotta get into the Slack channel. Yo, you remember these guys? Look what they're talking about.
But but these guys, even these execs, they lie all the time too. So
They
they're
do,
like,
they do.
yeah, you get it.
They do.
So, yeah.
All right, so the redacted story.
Yeah.
So
Are you sure?
you want to say it? All right, you say it and I'll jump in.
Okay, so we were hustling to get brand partners, sponsorships for the podcast. This is about, I'd say 2020, 2020-ish.
Yeah.
And I was like, Al, I'm going to just go compile a list of different products and services that could be useful for our audience. So Redacted comes into play. And this is a huge company. I'm like thinking, what do we have to offer at this stage of the game? What can we really do that will get them excited? I wrote a really good email talking about how we use their service, how it's really helped us get started, how we're looking to partner with different services that helps our entrepreneurial audience. I emailed their head of marketing, and she gets back to me. It's like, hey, yeah, like I took a look at your website, and I wake up in the morning, I'm looking at the Redacted brand name. This is a household name, and there's the head of I think he's a head of influencer marketing, I think it was. And I was like, all right, cool. We got a meeting. So I tell Al, I'm like, yo, you not believe who we just got a meeting with. He's like, yo, no way. So we prepare for the meeting. I'm like, before we prepare, we got to understand what they want from us. We just can't go pitch without understanding what the need is. We go there, they're doing their due diligence. So it's the head of influencer marketing and her right-hand person, who is this young girl. She's like fresh out of school, but she's like the one who kind of manages the programs that the head implements. It gets to a part in the question where she asks us, oh, so you guys use our service. So imagine this is like an online call. And it's hard to really read body language, because if we're in the same room, I can look at Al and be like, should we lie about this? Should we be honest? But you don't know how to take turns in who's going to speak. Yeah. So they asked us, do you use it? And rightfully so, we do use it, but we use it for personal use. Yeah. But they wanted to understand how we use it for our podcast, and how we use it to manage everything. So we go like, yeah. I don't know who said yeah first.
I think it was me. I'll keep it a buck. It was
I think
me.
It's Alex.
No. Was it just me? It was me times 10. Yeah. I jump out the window. Yeah. We use it all the time. Yeah. It hooks up to the podcast. No, like
we use it to share everything with each other.
Jump out the window.
And I'm like, oh shit, right? I'm like thinking if we did do that, they'll probably be like, okay, amazing, sounds good. We'll be in touch. It's just kind of like wrapping up the pleasantries after you're wrapping the call. When you ask me, do you use it? You're like, yeah, amazing, cool. But no, you know what they decide to do? They decide to double down and ask us, oh yeah, share us your account details. We'd love to see how you guys use it every day. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, every day.
The more subscribers we have, the better the guests get. So please hit subscribe. Let's get back into the show.
And I stay quiet. So I look over to Alex's square in the thing to see what he's going to say. Because he's just like, yeah, we use it all the time. And I'm like, fuck. And then we're just trying to play it cool. We're going to say, all right, we're going to figure it out after. But just to like keep cool in the call, we're like, yes, we'll share everything with you. We'll send you an email. We'll follow up. Everything will be kosher.
You forgot one point.
Which one?
She drops this bomb and I said, what do you think about billboards? Would you guys be cool being on the billboard? You're like, what? Hell yes, we would. We'd love to be on the billboard.
This is at the time when like the whole Black Lives Matter and
It
stuff
was.
right?
No, I don't think it was at the time. This is
it was
this is
right
2020?
before, actually. No.
It's closely.
No. It was because remember, we started March 2020.
Yeah.
And we were doing virtual. So and that was June, but when we did it, it was fall. So it was after it, but it was like far after it.
But it's still fresh though. That whole year was like
it was 20.
BLM,
It was like it was like the BLM residue was still high.
BLM residue was still there.
It was still there. There was a lot of like guilt, and people are like feeling, how can we help the community? So we got a lot of meetings, meetings that did end up going well. You can mention like GoDaddy. We had extensive chats with GoDaddy at the time.
Shout out GoDaddy.
Right? They really like try to work something. We were just not ready, but they really wanted to work with us. But amazing pitch, amazing everything, but just the work wasn't there. It's like we can't bring you to the team because the numbers are there. So back to the redacted company, we have a post-meeting chat and we're like, bro, they want us to send us this email. What are we gonna do? So we're debating whether to come clean or not, or just to create an account and send it to them. But they'll see that this is a brand new account you just started after the call. So either way, we were toast. So if we came clean, they could have been like, it's all good. I get it. Being part of influencer or a creator, you got a lot of pressure to say yes just to get the deal done. But they could have sympathized a little bit. But we had a lot of analysis paralysis. And we just decided to never look back and just let it go. And that was that.
Yeah. And that's where those lies
can take. And that was a blessing.
Lose you opportunities. Yeah.
That was a blessing because we did that and we're like, all right, never do that ever again. You know? So I think that was beautiful for us because now in meetings we tell the exact truth. We say everything that needs to be said. You know, so it was a good.
What you just said right there, I think that's a huge thing with entrepreneurs in general. Like, you're learning on the way. There's no playbook. There's no guideline. You can read all the books that you want in the world from successful entrepreneurs. Even in your field, that route is not your route. So it's hard to even like know what to do in that situation because you've never been there before. So I feel like that's a huge reason why entrepreneurs lie. Because you're literally just learning on the way.
And it's a survival of the fittest.
Yeah, survival of the fittest. I agree. Right? And it's like, there's a known unknown thing too, right? Where it's like, I think the angle, and correct me if I'm wrong, when it's like, I don't know this, but I can figure it out. I don't know this at all, and I cannot figure it out, you know, and I know this, and I can figure it out, and I know this, and I know it, right? So there's different elements of knowing and not knowing, right? A lot of things that we look at, we're like, I know that, but I don't know how to do it. So we can look at it and be like, yeah, I know how to do that, but
figure it out.
But I can figure it out, no problem. And sometimes it can work. And it's worked for us too. There's been times we're in meetings and we're like, listen, we do that for ourselves. We can do that for you, no problem. You have done it before.
Yeah, I mean,
100%. That
like,
works.
look at Chinelli.
Nathaniel,
right?
How Uplift got started is from
unknown. So Chinelli, I mean, I cold called him. Chinelli, shout out to DC Talks podcast. We call him. He's like, brings us to the meeting. He's like, come in, let's chat. And we went there to pitch in the standard content, talking at content we do for realtors and mortgage brokers. And he's sitting there. It's like a boy in his, you know, I was like, you know that place, right? But for the people listening, he has a really beautiful office, long table, marble, 4 chairs on each side. So he's sitting on the other side with his assistant. Alex sitting on the other thing. I've done my pitch. I already told him. He's like, listen, I already know about you guys. I've done my background. I've seen what you guys do. He's like, you know, this is great. I already do content, but I want to do a podcast. He's like, do you guys do podcasts? And I turn to my left, and Alex's face is like very like deadpan, right? And I'm about to say something. Alex is like, yeah, we do podcasts.
That's what I was about to say. No.
Why you always do that, bro? Alex, it's you.
No. I wasn't lying that time. So it's a difference.
He's like, yeah.
There's a difference. That and soup. Damn it! Look at me now.
Just the cat's out of the bag. The cat's out of the bag.
No, redacted.
Take that out, editor.
It was a bold-faced lie. Yeah. With this, we actually make podcasts. We do have a podcast. Yeah. So we're like, all right, boom. We know this. We can do this. We have the equipment.
But we don't offer it.
But
now you asked us to offer it. We will offer it.
Now we do.
Exactly.
Now we do offer
Big difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right?
So that was the difference. And then we negotiated and got
out. Bro, in one day, like from call to meeting to that night, paper signed.
Yeah.
Money paid.
Yeah.
From a quasi lie
from the original lie.
From the original lie.
The original. This is what incepted the company.
Yes.
We were talking with Nate, shout out Nate, and he was like, we had a call, bro. It was the Artscape. Shout out Artscape. I know they're going under right now, but shout out Artscape. I'm in their prayer room. I didn't even know they had a prayer room. I had to find a room quickly. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I'm on a call with Nate, and we're trying to figure out like how we can work together because we had just done the ABM event. Shout out ABM. Shout out all the people.
Man like Jimmy.
Shout out Jimmy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out everybody. So we're in the room talking, and I'm like, yo, you want to sponsor us? And he's like, I'm not sure yet. Your numbers aren't there yet. I'm like, oh, we make content as well. And like, you make content? I'm like, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, how much? I'm like, $1,000. I'm like, done. I'm like, really? That's it? And just like that, we had a client. Mm-hmm. Yo, when I told Owen this, and we were jumping for joy in the middle of Artscape, like, yo, we have a deal. We have a deal. That was our first time. That was a quasi lie.
It's a quasi lie.
You know, because we didn't know how to make content, but we had to figure it out because we knew that we could figure it out. And that's the kind of slippery slope that happens a lot of times as an entrepreneur. Yeah. You know, like you were mentioning off camera that you had an opportunity for a deal. How'd that go? Tell us about that.
Especially in the videography field. I think because people don't have the whole scape of what it takes to be a cameraman and stuff like that, they kind of think cameraman can do everything. Like I'll do a photo shoot and somebody like, hey, can you just make me look skinnier? Like, it's like, no, that's a movie where they do CGI. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like in my situation, it was kind of a thing where it's like, I got approached to do something that I had done, but I wasn't experienced in it. And the role that they wanted me to play was the main guy, and actually more than just being a cameraman, kind of being on the marketing team for their company, making decisions, talking to radio stations, talking to top coaches from all across the place, and kind of playing this role that I've never played before. And a quasi lie where it's like, yeah, I can get this done. Deal, like it was literally phone call, meet next day, deal signed. Thousands of dollars I made working with them. And it actually went very well. From where we started to where I ended my relationship with them, their advisor, who is a top person in that same field, but in the States, they were saying that what I was creating was better than what they even had. You know what I mean? Like that's where we ended. And I started from never doing this before, really, like consistently. Yeah. So it's that fake it to make it mentality that we get preached to about every single day. Yep. And literally doing that and taking it, putting it into your real life and seeing what happens, and it works. It's just like you guys said, it was a quick conversation. Dude was like, done. DC was like, hey, I want to do this. Yeah. Can you guys do it? done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's the good side of it.
Yeah.
Where it's taking that leap of faith and having that dreamer's mentality.
Yeah.
And like what you said, not knowing if you can do it, but knowing you can do it type thing, right? So
yeah. In the Art of War, Sun Tzu, he wrote about the Art of War. He has this quote in like part of the book. Like he says one thing, he says, opportunities multiply as they're seized, right? So when you have an opportunity and you seize it, that one opportunity allows you to multiply with more opportunities. So you have to think about it like this. No one is ever truly ready for an opportunity. Think about even people in their careers. You go in a job, you say, I'm proficient in speaking French, right? Just to get the job. Then you get thrown in the fires. Hey, like you said in your resume, you know French, you know Excel. Like, can you draft this up for us? And you're like, oh my God, I lied. But then in the heat of the moment, your basic knowledge of Excel, you just go search up functions, you search up everything, and you become good at Excel.
And that's how you learn sometimes
That's how you
too,
learn.
though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're going to go and put in that effort to go learn this craft in order to get that job and get it done. And you can become great at it. So I feel like even though, a lot of entrepreneurs lie, it's not a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah.
So, I think it's interesting. Drawing the line between where to lie and when not to lie is a very delicate situation, isn't it?
It's more when not to lie is when it's like a technical type of job, right? Remember that one black kid who was like super young and he spoke and acted like a doctor.
Oh yeah.
What was his name?
He did multiple.
my gosh.
He did that multiple
He did
times.
multiple times,
Yeah.
and he finessed everybody. And then he finally found out that this guy is actually a fraud, right? And he was, I think,
Shout out to the scammers.
shout
man.
out to scammers, bro.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
when you're scamming
So
for sure.
so for him,
scam.
he's lying.
Or
So-
the other one.
Which one?
The high or the high school or college football. The football one.
the
most
guy that
recent
was
one.
on-
The one for the AU.
Yeah, he was on the JVP. The guy.
What was his name
I forgot
again?
what it is called.
BS
Something
High?
high. BS High.
BS High.
Yeah, where he made like
Yeah.
a fake football program.
I think you should watch that.
And he got on
You should
ESPN.
watch it,
Yeah.
but you should he got onto ESPN,
So you
and
got
got
these kids on it?
destroyed. Right, they destroyed him. But a lot of those kids, like I watched his interview on the JBP, a lot of those kids got the
exposure.
opportunity to go to D1 schools. So it's like, yeah, you lied, yeah, you finessed people, but you did something for somebody. Even if it's one person, you changed that person's life. That actually matters. Because at the end of the day, that's what a legacy is.
Yeah.
A legacy isn't what you did for yourself. It's what you did for other people or like your city or your team, whatever it is. That's what your legacy is. So I feel like that there's good lies out there.
There's good lies out there, right? Which begs the question, right? There are good lies that exist. There are product services that we use that someone had to lie to someone to take advantage of them for us to really enjoy the products. For example, Ray Kroc, McDonald's. So McDonald's, Ray Kroc was like an ice cream machine salesman going all over America trying to sell ice cream machines to restaurant owners. Comes across McDonald's, sees how they've revolutionized packaging, systems, burgers, fryers. Everything was just done to order right then and there in a bag so you can toss it out. Back in the day, restaurants, the plate comes to your car. There's glassware, there's ceramics, there's everything. Speed wasn't really there. So he comes to the McDonald brothers like, wow, I love what you guys are doing. Let me help you franchise these things. Let me help you franchise these restaurants. Expands all over America. Meets this guy called Freddie Sunburn or something like that. This one Jewish guy who gives him money to go and expand the McDonald's franchises. He tells him, hey, the beauty of this thing is that you should own the land instead of actually doing franchise restaurants. He does this and he tries to get a cut for the McDonald brothers. They're like, this isn't part of our vision. You're growing too fast. Ray Kroc is like, guys, listen, this is how we're going to make it. You guys have something here. Like, listen to me. So the McDonald brothers are like, okay, fine. Continue doing what you're doing. But Ray Kroc is like, listen, I want to buy the business from you. How much would it take? And I couldn't remember the numbers, but I think it was like in a mil, just an easy mil. But perpetuity, sales and perpetuity
Nah, he got
of,
them.
of McDonald's, right? So they're like, listen, I can't agree to that, but you have my word. He handshakes the McDonald brothers, and they're like, okay, cool. This percentage in perpetuity for as long as McDonald's is in existence. So at the time, you don't know how long McDonald's is gonna go. There's a lot of fast food restaurants who start and drop tomorrow. So those brothers never saw a dime from McDonald's sales. Expanded. Now McDonald's, we know McDonald's, we crush that stuff every day. But imagine if he didn't lie to those guys. If he lied to those guys, right? And I mean, if he told the truth and he actually gave them equity and he didn't do all the things that he did behind their back in terms of owning the land that McDonald's is in and paying and charging rent to those owners who do the franchisees. Maybe McDonald's doesn't expand. Maybe McDonald's doesn't become the brand it is. McDonald's and Coke are like exactly the same brand. So think how McDonald's has made such an impact. And it was based on a guy who was so selfish that he was making a lot of lies just to make it.
I mean, I think that's kind of like a specific example because he like actually snaked them.
But bro, there's a lot of guys who snaked people, like Facebook, snake.
Majority of the biggest business started off with a snake.
Snaky
but
behavior.
They got paid though. The Facebook boys got paid.
Yeah,
they did.
But
They made like I think it was like they made life-changing money off of Facebook.
Morally snaked.
They were morally snaked, but the McDonald's guys were actually snaked.
Yeah,
their families might be everyday citizens, whereas like the Facebook twins, they're not everyday citizens.
The
Winklevoss twins, they're not everyday citizens. And I think they have another company too.
They're multi-millionaires.
Exactly. Their
net worth is in like the 9 figures easily.
Right?
So
I think there's a difference between the two. Like there's a difference between people getting snaked and saying, all right, I'm taking it over, but you gonna have a little bit, versus what happens to McDonald's.
But do you think that level of cutthroatness is needed?
Yes.
Right?
If you want to go McDonald's level, 100%, you have to be a shark. You have to be cutthroat. It's not, you can't get through life like that type of life being like, oh yeah, sure, let's do it. Like, no, straight up.
Yeah.
There's no examples either.
There's bare examples. Even like on TV. Remember what's that show with the guy who had 3 sons? One was gay, one and 2 of them were Jussie Smollett with Terrence Howard. Empire, right? The one guy he's trying to get back Empire because he felt snaked from I think the wife, what's his name, Cookie?
Yeah.
Cookie Tarjay Henson, right? So it just goes to show you that these guys, to really get to where they gotta be, there's an element of, and bro, it sucks because you gotta be integral in everything that you do.
Yeah.
But it's like something it's like a give and take. I mean, I get the whole idea. I gotta lie to my employees just to make them not feel like anxious about being laid off. But then I get new information and I do otherwise. I can see optically how that looks like a lie, but to do something like behind someone's back just to enrich yourself, morally and integrally, like I don't agree with that.
Of course,
but
it depends on what you want to do, though. Like I said,
exactly. If you're gonna be like, okay, this is what I gotta do. It depends who it is, and depends, and this is like another thing. It depends what's at stake.
If your business plan and your business goal is to make money, you have to become money.
You have to become money.
You have to become money. You have to detach yourself from the feelings and this and that and all the other stuff. You have to move like you're the money.
You think so?
Yeah, because
I disagree.
No, I'm saying, remember, again, I'm not talking about a business that's founded on integrity and service and customers and client. No, I'm talking about the business that want to make money. That's a front. That's a front. All that type of stuff, like customer service, that's all a front. The $1 billion businesses is straight up cutthroat. Those companies, the people that are at the head, they have to become the money. and they have to move like that because, like you said, if layoffs are a natural thing that happens in a company, for a company to succeed, there has to kind of be layoffs.
You got to cut the fat.
Because you have to work people a lot and gain all that money. And for you to even retain the money, you have to let go of the people who got you that.
Yeah.
So that you're not repaying them. So you have to be cutthroat. You have to act like money and say, I'm not even thinking about whose hands I'm going into. I'm just cutting. I'm either going to leave or I'm here. And that's how money is, right? It's either in your pocket or it's not. It's not halfway. You don't have half your money. It doesn't make sense. You either have all or none.
Yeah.
So like in terms of being that company that's going to be that $1 billion company, you have to move like the McDonald's guy who snaked them and went around their back and did all this different stuff to kind of get those billions of dollars, because you don't become the biggest franchise in the world thinking about integrity. It's just a fact. Yeah. And if that wasn't a fact, then iPhones wouldn't be made in Indonesia and Pakistan and China and wherever, all these different places. Like they would just be made here. Because in America, we care about clients and customer service and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, in America, it's just like, you gotta pay us American wages.
Yeah.
You gotta pay us like, what's the American wage now? Like it's
probably like 16 to $20 an hour, anywhere between there.
Was like isn't it $8?
It's $8.
Yeah, it was $8.
It's $8.
Oh, in America, yeah.
In America,
sorry.
yeah,
I'm thinking about here.
Yeah. Here it's $16.50.
Yeah,
I think it is. Yeah. So yeah, man. But like, I think you bring up a great point, right? There's a level of shrewdness you gotta have in conducting, especially when you got multi-million-dollar, trillion-dollar deals on the thing,
on the
right?
line. You're talking millions
it's
of dollars.
Player versus player, right? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, what's your team? It's business is war. If you think about it, like business is the greatest game ever. It's 24/7, 365. Bro, there's a kid right now trying to kick our ass somewhere in Australia.
Facts.
That's a fact. Now, let's talk about stealing.
Stealing.
Because this is another element of the lying, of the fraud that comes.
Stealing ideas?
Stealing ideas.
Could be just stealing in general.
Stealing in general.
Because it's money too.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your guys' opinion on stealing people's content? Like, for example, if you look at Mr. Beast's content, every video he puts out is copied within days.
Thumbnails are copied.
The thumbnails, everything. And people are stealing everything. When it comes to anything artistry-wise, there's always a bootleg that follows it.
I want to disagree with you on that first Mr. Beast point. That's not stealing to me.
Why not?
And the reason why it's not stealing is because there's a whole field of content that is based on other people's content. So for example, you can go to like the biggest forms of it. NBA, sports. The shows that we watch after the sport shows is showing the NBA's content. Whether it's a podcast, whether it's ESPN, any company that's talking about the NBA, they're taking the NBA's content, they're monetizing it for their own platform. And they do that with all sports. Then you can go down to a lower level with YouTube content creators or podcasters. There's literally a whole field of content creators that base their content off of other people's content.
And other people's...
That's not what I'm talking about.
But let me land first. The reason why I don't think it's stealing is because when somebody else clips your content, although they might be monetized, they're also helping the person too. So that's why I don't think it's stealing, because now somebody that follows this random person who makes this reaction videos is now going to be caught onto your content, and they're spreading your net way wider than just you posting your stuff only. So that's the only reason why I say it's not stealing.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about reactions or fair use of someone's content at all. I'm talking about Mr. Beast says, hey guys, in this video, I'm showing people getting their heads chopped off. Someone sees it and is like, whoa, that's a crazy idea. And it's like, in this video, I'm going to show people getting their heads cut off. And says the exact same thing when repeats it verbatim, same thumbnail, same kind of concept, to get the exact same or a margin of what Mr. Beast is doing. Because if he gets 100 million views, someone gets 10 million views, I'm still eating out that 10 million views, right?
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
I've never seen that before.
That's a big thing on YouTube right now. Yeah. Like people copying thumbnails, ideas.
So that's more of a copying, like stealing idea type thing.
Exactly.
Okay. Got you. I thought you were saying like clipping. When you said clips, I thought you were saying clipping his content.
No.
Yeah, like, so pretty much like...
Okay. My bad. That's my fault.
like fair use content.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, but not fair use content. You know, we used it in this very pod. You know, where we talked about another YouTuber, that was the doctor I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So there is a phenomenon going on where people are stealing content, like actually stealing, not like repurposing, for monetary gain.
Yeah.
And it's not going unchecked.
Got you.
You know, what are your thoughts on stealing people's content? And here's the thing too, though, is that as creatives, in order to start, you kind of need to steal to start. You know, when you're just coming off, you're like, all right, what am I going to create? I want to make something like, I remember when I first started rapping, I used to say, Cassidy had a bar, and I would say, I'm putting an 8K to your rib cage. So I used to, every time I used to freestyle rap.
That was your first bar?
I used to go straight to it.
Is that, it's like when you get told to have a freestyle and you're waiting. You're just waiting. I'm like,
yo,
that bar
anytime
I freestyle, I'm spitting that shit.
I was spitting that bar.
I don't care if the flow is off, but like those are the bars I'm spitting, bro.
Exactly. So
we all have those tracks, bro, that we're gonna spit.
So I took that from Cassidy, but that's more in the fair use lane. I'm talking about somebody who steals to start off. And as entrepreneurs, a lot of times when it comes to something, for instance, you're pitching and you're in a meeting and nothing's hitting, and you're like, man, I know that guy's idea over there. Yoink.
Steal it.
Steal it.
So that's like newsjacking in a way then?
No, newsjacking.
Is that even different as well? Okay.
That's repurposing. That's fair use.
I think there's a saying that goes, there's nothing new under the sun, right? Think about it. Every idea, every concept, every style that you can think about, someone has already thought about it, someone has already done it, or someone else showed you a glimpse of what something could be. So stealing is always going to be there. Steve Jobs stole a lot of his plans and things that are in Apple computers today. The mouse, he stole that from Xerox, right? He stole their graphic interface because he saw that they're not using it properly. Let's put this on a Mac and let's actually get it out there to the populace so they can actually have a personal computer. Because you think about back in the day, computers, they're just very clunky machines. Like you got to go somewhere to use them, but you can't have them in your house. So he gets a tour by Xerox, sees what they're doing, and sees this cursor moving around. It's like, rah, like what?
What weird?
What do you guys are using it? It's like, what do you guys use? Yeah, well, we just used it internally. It's just to do this. And Steve Jobs like, listen, he goes back to Apple. We got to create this thing, make it as cheap as possible. And he tells his team, I got to be able to roll it on my jeans when I'm using it at home. So they go make it for like way less and make it last longer than the Xerox thing. Stole it, revolutionized modern day computing, because IBM wasn't doing that. So he had that quote, Picasso, it's actually a Picasso quote, good artists copy, great artists steal. So you got to steal to make things happen, right? So even Mr. Beast, that one line, he must have seen it from a movie. He's like, that's something I can use, but he just popularizes it and he's the leader. So everyone's going to follow.
So I think there's a slight difference between what you were saying Steve Jobs did and what other people on YouTube are doing. And I think this is a big lesson as entrepreneurs. It's figuring out what to steal and how to improve on top of it. Because what you're talking about is someone's taking an idea, is Drake looking at Ja Rule and saying, I'm going to sing too, but put it like this, you know? So I think as entrepreneurs and the creatives, when you go to take an idea, it's thinking about how we can take it and improve upon it and not just steal it for stealing's sake. You know, because you can steal for stealing's sake too. But I think if we take and then improve upon it, that's what the difference is, you know? So yeah, that's kind of the difference between the two of them. So we have elements of Earn Your Leisure in our pod. We have elements of Colin and Samir on our pod. You know, we have different elements of different podcasters for sure. As we're towards wrapping up, it's an interesting conversation between finding the line between, you know, theft, stealing, fraud, and believing in yourself and lying to get that deal. You know?
Yeah. But and one thing I also wanted to touch upon is how publications play a big factor in what people believe as a lie. Because these days you can, back to the whole Caesar DJ Envy, you can have an entrepreneur say, I'm going to buy 100K followers. I'm going to look, sound, conduct myself as if I am that entrepreneur that would be on Forbes.
Yeah.
You can have a contact at Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, TechCrunch, fabricate all these things, have a landing page. Remember that guy who had a landing page? We interviewed him and he said that he has users, he has whatever. I've been on TechCrunch, but in the behind closed doors, you got nothing, right? So, and we take that information and we're like, yo, look at person ABC is doing this. They've raised this. They're here. They're doing that. They're on that platform. They're on that podcast. But we think that these people collectively get there by merit. And that is the biggest thing that I've learned, that merit doesn't really exist in terms of achieving success. We can work as hard as we can, but someone might have a contact that can get them through certain doors and get there. We can go as far as we can on merit, but to go to different places, you've got to do some things you might not be proud of to get there, to really, really get there. Caesar, integrity out the window. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear for me to get that bag. So the media legit manipulates things just to make people believe certain things, and they'll take the money because, hey, this is just another story. But them to someone like Caesar, he has 40 of those stories. So now this story makes him seem he's the next real estate guy, right? So it's just a lesson for us as a general populace. Do not believe everything you see on Twitter, Instagram, and these Forbes articles, because I was watching Spencer Cornelia. This one guy talks about marketing and whatever. It can help you with marketing, but you paid for those Forbes articles. Forbes 30 under 30 for some other country. So people say Forbes 30 under 30, but like Forbes 30 under 30 South Africa, right? Where they might not do due. I'm not saying South Africans don't do due diligence, but it's easy to get 30 under 30 when you compare to other South Africans, you know? So everything is always skewed. And now we have the Thanioses, the FTX, everything like that. So think about all the athletes who invested in FTX.
Yep. Steph Curry.
They were all finessed by influence.
Not even just athletes too. Everyday YouTubers too. Like Graham Stephan was in that. You know. So there was real people who were believing in that, thinking that it's real because of the perceived value that came from it. You know, and that's another thing that happens, that we lie to create perceived value.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Yeah, I want to touch on the stealing too, because like. One thing, I was listening to JBP the other day, and he's like, yo, when you put something out in the world, it's not yours anymore. It's mine. Like, if I'm a consumer and you put, like, say, because he was talking about his whole, like, Drake thing and, like, how he got this big backlash. But it's like, this project is mine now. Like, you put it out, I purchased it. I have every right to make comment and give my opinion. Yeah. And when it comes to the stealing thing, it's like, listen, you put this content out. I own this now. So
I'm momentarily renting it from you as I play it.
No, you're not renting it. You own it.
Okay, but how do I?
It's my like, if you can download the content, you can screen record the whole thing on your phone, and you can own that clip forever. This is mine. You put it out too, and you're getting paid for it.
But so you're saying if I clip it and download it and I have it just on my camera roll, it's in my possession. I own this thing.
It's yours.
But if I republish it, of course, there's copyright laws.
Yeah, of course. If you take that exact clip and put it out there, you're gonna get in trouble. Yeah. But if you take that first thing that he said and say it in your video,
it's mine.
It's fair game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like even that kind of sits in that fair. You know, the fair use thing. Fair use. Where it's like, yeah, it's stealing, but you also put this out. So I own this thing now too. You know what I mean? Like this, I kind of have the right to take this idea that inspired me to go make my own thing and use it too. And if it pops, it pops. Bobby Althoff, funny Marco. Like, I actually respect her because she went and did a podcast with him. Yeah. Because she recognized that, yeah, this is his thing, but I'm not going to be that classic white colonizer person and just take it and run off. I'm going to actually, show you some love too. But I feel like You put this thing out in the world. It inspired the hell out of me. I want to make my own version now. For the rest of Bobby Altop's life, they're gonna say black people are gonna say she stole Funny Marco's content, stole Funny Marco's style. But he put it onto the world to inspire her, to make a new version of her.
So Owen talked about this a second ago when he mentioned the Steal Like an Artist book. And I think it's a must-read book for entrepreneurs, or even listen to the podcast. One of the ones I actually, in preparation for this, I was listening to the Colin Samir episode where they interviewed the author of Steal Like an Artist. And one of the main things he mentioned was, it's one thing to steal, and they have this phrase, stealing or copying is the biggest form of flattery. But so if you used to see someone actually copy your style, it's actually not that flattering.
Yeah.
But what is flattering is when you see somebody leverage your style and then go and do something completely different with it and upgrade it, right? And what you're talking about is kind of the ladder where someone's taking the style and upgrading it, sampling, for example, even though sampling doesn't go to a lot of people's thing. But it's a form of that where they see something and improve upon it. I think that is extremely important and necessary for the society to grow, art to grow, business to grow, for sure. But I have a problem with somebody stealing. Like, I've seen someone that's stolen our whole podcast intro. You know the guy. Yeah. He's redacted.
He's a local guy.
Local guy.
Everything did it from introduction to preamble.
That's
naming the show too.
That's a part of what I said earlier, though. That's your legacy. It doesn't matter how many views or likes you get on this show ever. Your legacy is the fact that somebody else saw what you did and went out and created their own version, and they're so unoriginal that they had to take what you guys did because they know that's the formula that they want to use. I feel like that's the good side of it, where, yeah, of course, that sucks that he's like taking your shit and doing his own thing, but you guys inspired somebody to go create. That's amazing.
There's certain things that, yes, you can copy the show and you can do whatever. Like, I see it all the time. Like, guys like Iman and Gatsi, people copy his studio setup. People copy his thumbnail setup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dog, if you are trying to talk to this audience I'm in and this is the person you're copying, everyone sees right through you, right? So it doesn't make sense. There's one guy who I think that it's very hard to copy them. It's like a Toronto guy, Sean Brown.
Oh, by Sean Brown.
By Sean Brown.
Shout out Sean Brown.
Remember, he skirted away from us.
Yeah, I was gonna tell the story. Yeah, Sean Brown ducked us heavy, fam. Yo, it was so embarrassing. Yo, I felt like an ugly girl.
Damn.
I felt like a fat ugly girl, bro. That was probably one of the worst curves.
Yo.
You got by shot curves, bro. By Sean Brown.
The way he just walked away, just like with his baggy pants, just like a penguin. He went to the other guy, like, conversing. You asked him a question, and he just stayed quiet.
Damn.
Boom. But I was going to say, man, his designs, his carpets, his jackets, it's so hard to duplicate that and not have the same soul and flair that Sean's work has. Right? His carpets. He was everybody knows Sean Brown made those carpets. His corduroy jackets. I'm like, man, his like one is
the one sleeve.
Sleeve.
That jacket was so hard to drop that. Yo, I can't lie. That was
it was like $2,000
to come out of Toronto.
Bruh.
That and the Roots jacket.
Hardest jackets.
For sure.
Bro, I remember I wanted that jacket so I was willing to, at the time I was like maybe second year of uni. I think my whole life savings was like $4,000 at that time. And I'm like, I'm gonna buy this jacket. I don't care. Because it was so unique. It was so different. So if someone else sees that jacket, it's H&M copies it, it'll lack the same flair because they might not use the same fabrics, the same touch. But you can't copy good art.
So I have a question. What are you guys on the side of? Because I think throughout our whole conversation, where the questions started and where they ended, like, I feel like my opinion was more finding the good in the stealing, the lying, and all those stuff that entrepreneurs do. And I feel like you guys kind of pointed out the negative side of things mostly. But what's your opinion on it in terms of like all of us in this room being entrepreneurs and knowing that we have our fate in our own hands. For, we don't want to go into God and that type of stuff right now, but we have our fate in our own hands. What's your opinion on it? Do you think that these things are good and necessary, or is it like something that we should or entrepreneurs should stay away from and not do?
That should go.
I think you should know your limits and play within it. And there's one thing I actually didn't mention is in regards to the known unknown. I remember Francesca from the Friend Zone had this quote that really stuck with me. It was, just because you haven't done it doesn't mean it's not for you. It might be just different for you, right? Whereas something that you might have done before, but you can accomplish it, it's something different for you, so you can accomplish it, so you can go forth and conquer it. Whereas those other things that you don't know how to do at all, but you're making that promise to close the deal. There's a fine line between those two things, and going after the right one and making that change is where it really matters. So that's where I think people need to focus on, is knowing which one is which for you and doubling down on that.
Yeah. I think for me, as I was saying, in anything you do in business, you have to be ethical in everything that you do, in the way you treat people, the way you conduct yourself, and the way you treat your customers and the promises you give. I can understand people who are in bigger places and they need to be a little bit more shrewd. They need to maybe do certain things they might not be proud of. But if that impact is for the good of moving the company forward, like, we've got to fire this person, we've got to tell him this, but he's here right now, so let's tell him otherwise, but we got to do this because we can't have him do that. I get that. There's a little bit of shrewdness just to protect the bigger asset, right? But it should never be from a place like where it's like from a malicious intent. Yeah, of course. I think that's from that's where I stand. But from like your personal relationships, know your limits, as Alex said. Yeah. Right. Know what you can do, know what you can't do, and learn to do the things that you can't do. Maybe even maybe 50%. And when you get asked, you can lie and say, yeah, I can do it, but not at the expert level. But you got to be ready to put your burners on and really rise to the occasion. I'd rather somebody say, I know how to 50% do it, but I have the willingness to do it. Yeah, lie to me about that. But do not lie to me about, I do not know how to do it, and tell me you know how to do it. And
under-promise and over-deliver.
Exactly.
Like what you said.
Exactly. Yeah. So one of the last things I want to say as work towards wrapping up is manage expectations, y'all. That's one of the biggest lessons that we've had. Managing expectations. If you are an A+ at it, say you're A+ at it. If you are a B+ at it or a C+, maintain that, so people can understand exactly what they're getting, and maintaining that expectation with either the clients you're serving or the customers you're serving. That's one other thing.
And I'll say too, and this is specifically for all the videographers and photographers out there, it's very hard to say no to work. It's extremely hard, especially when you're doing this full time, which not a lot of photographers and videographers are actually doing it full time. Most of them have a 9-to-5 and do it on the side. But if that's your goal, that you want to take it to a full-time job, like kind of like how I'm doing it, you're going to be tempted to lie, to take that extra gig to get that money.
100%.
Guys, don't do it. If something goes wrong and timing is an issue, be open to speaking to that person. I try my best that anytime, if there's a due date of Thursday, something is due, I do my best to at least say, hey guys, I can't have it done today. I'm gonna just talk. Communication is everything. I had a situation, I'll be quick with this. I had a situation where I gave a gig to another person that I work with that I've worked with in the industry. I gave him a gig to one of my top clients. I had no idea that this guy had a pattern of disappearing on people. I had no idea. I saw his work, amazing work. But what he does is he takes every gig, he gets paid for it, he can't finish gigs, and he disappears. That's what he does. He's done it multiple times. My guys even gave the guy a second chance, and he did the same thing again. Now that I'm even speaking about this, I actually have to call this guy because he still hasn't sent back the money. And because I've been working so hard, I forgot. Now I have to call him. So it's a good thing we had this conversation. But it's literally just because the lies. and the lies end up turning into stealing. So you just get wrapped up in this negative thing.
Negative loop.
And it's a huge thing with videographers and photographers. A lot of people know. I've been through the situation where I've just been swamped and something's just going to take me longer. I did a wedding for somebody and I gave it to an editor. The editor gave me nonsense. Now, in that situation, I could have lied and just been like, hey guys, I just need a couple more days. And I put together something quickly myself. No, I went to her and I said, listen, my editor that I'm no longer using gave me some nonsense. I'm actually, because it's not half bad, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually give you this for sake of time because we're wasting time here. Your wedding was a month ago. I'm going to give you this edit so you have something to look at. And I'm going to go ahead and redo what I got to do within a certain time frame, but I need more time because I'm more busy. I was just honest. And you know what her reaction was? Oh my God, that's no problem. Take your time. I'm so happy you even sent us this. I gave her the raw footage so she can look at it and see all the raw. It was amazing. Her reaction was amazing. Another time, actually recently, I shot some photos. I had a technical difficulty with my camera that I did not know was happening. So when I went back after, I looked at the photos. They're not up to my standard. You know what I said? I messaged the lady. Hey, listen, I'm actually going to offer you a full refund because this is just below my standard. This isn't my work. We've worked together before and you know my work. This isn't it. I'm going to offer you a full refund because I didn't know this was happening. It was a technical. I was just completely open. You know what she said? She sent back an email. Oh my God, no problem. I thank you for being professional. You don't have to send me a refund. You know what? Just next time I call you for a shoot, just give me a little discount, whatever it is. Like, you never know what the reaction is going to be. But because you're so used to lying and stealing, you're going to go to that and do that every time. It's a big thing with photographers and videographers. So y'all stay away from it.
Managing expectations. And even with Uplift Studios clients, I call them like every day just to give them updates. I was like, hey man, listen, the videos were being worked on right now. I know it's a little bit late, but I just want to say you might not get them all at once, but we're going to give you piece by piece. It's like, man, Owen, I appreciate the call. Yeah. Thanks for the updates. Hey, you'll get them not right away, but this is the plan. Have them expect them. So I give them even further.
Yes.
And then I come
under
back,
promise, over deliver.
Kind of goes back to Fire Festival. Like, imagine if bro like Bobby they had managed expectations. He saved his reputation.
Bro, he wouldn't have went to jail. Everything. That whole shit wouldn't have happened.
Give them money back.
Facts.
Fire's not happening.
Facts.
So that's what happens when you lie, bro. You overexert yourself. You overextend. You feel bad. Your character takes an emotional toll. And it's all because of you. You made the decision. You made the decision to be like, I can deliver by tomorrow because you feel the pressure because you're afraid to lose the deal, which goes back to the scarcity mindset you're talking about. Money's so seductive. You feel like it's going to flee away. But that shit is rotating. It's circulation. It's going to come back.
That's what it does.
It's going to come back.
Money is only a byproduct of hard work. It's not something that it's, I don't even think about money. How many times y'all have to be like, yo, Isaac, send the invoice.
Bruh, I hate sending you invoices. I hate sending that money. I'm like, but fuck for real.
And the reason why I'm even like that is because, and I need to get out of that habit. Because I have people out there who owe me hundreds of dollars. And I'm just like working so hard. I know the money's coming, but sometimes I forget to send the invoice. It's a byproduct. It's not the end all be all. If you work hard, you're going to get this thing. That's just how it works. If you go to the gym and lift enough weights, your arm is going to get big. It's the same way. If you work hard enough and you're doing good work in your business, the money is going to come. So there's no point of lying and stealing and doing all these things. You can just be honest. And we've had that in our dynamic where it's like, yo, we can just be 100% honest with each other. How about that?
How about that? It seems like a lost art, but like,
no,
it's the most constant thing that exists.
It is. And how many times have I told you guys, I'm gonna be 100% straight up here. You guys know when you get an opinion from me, it's gonna be 100% straight up. I'm not gonna lie. You're trying to flex that Jamaican accent. I'm like, fam.
Where'd that come from? No.
I feel like you were expecting me to be like, you're your Jamaican accent wasn't that bad. I was like, nah,
it's horrible.
that was horrible, fam. That's
Speak,
not
your mom
it.
say stick to your mother, your national tongue.
Yo, my mom was so dry.
Speak to your national language.
I tried to basically what advertising wants to work with the podcast wanted us to run an ad in patois. And I told my mom, hey, what do you think about me speaking in patois for an ad? And she's like, speak to your national language.
Which is Canadian.
Yeah, that was insane.
Your mom's
That's
ruthless.
a story in itself.
Yeah.
Somebody asked you guys to do an ad in patois?
A patois.
Patois.
Can you add in
Imagine
patois?
that.
Mhm.
That's what corporate people are. Can you
The
add in
Pepsi
patois?
commercial all over again.
Right? Can you add in patois? Yeah, what would you say someone asked you to do a ad in Swahili?
What I say, I'd actually decline, because as much as I can speak Swahili, I don't have the twang of speaking like homegrown Swahili. So if I
So
speak
you have an accent.
yeah, I have like a Canadian accent. If I like English, you can tell this person speaks Swahili, but it has a lot of like an English flair to it, right? So the true authentic Swahili speaking person, I'll leave it up to someone else. We can have a conversation, but just don't put me in camera and ask me to do it, because it's just not the same. I haven't been there in a while, and I speak it at home when I can, but yeah, I'm not gonna front like I'm a Kenyan guy, like just fresh off the boat. No, I've been in Canada for a while. I'm pretty much Canadian now, but I'm Kenyan through and through in like the things I do at home.
I feel you. For me, one thing I realized too is that there's levels to this Jamaican stuff, because my family's from the country, so like, and there's so many levels to the Jamaican accent. Like there's uptown Jamaican, which is like more modern. They say it like that, like modern, you know, versus like the country where it's like
drawn out, and long,
exactly, where it's like super overt. You know, and even generational gaps too. Like how
the new kids different.
It's a hugely large gap. There's a large gap between the different sects of the Jamaican culture.
What do you think of the Jamaican guys that rock the house, Tony and Mario? What do they fall in the Jamaican spectrum?
They're like older Canadian Jamaicans.
Oh, the Canadian Jamaicans.
Yeah. Like for instance, Tash the Millionaire. Yeah, she speaks Auntie Jamaican. She doesn't speak young kid Jamaican, because our generation's a generation back. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, her if she was to speak like that to somebody in Jamaica, they'd be like, what's going on? You know? Yeah, because we're a generation back. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's wrap up the episode. Love to know what y'all think about the episode. Comment down below. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at 247hustler, on TikTok at 247hustler, on Twitter at 247hustlers with the S. Our website, hustleovereverything.co, not .com. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Please subscribe to us on YouTube.
Please. Right. Yo, and like that shit.
Yes.
And comment.
And comment, bro. We need the algorithm to pick up that video so other people can see it.
We are on our way to 1,000 subs.
Very close.
We're at 906, 908 now.
I think 908,
yeah. We're slowly approaching end of year closeout. Let's make it happen, y'all.
Let's get it.
Fight the finish.
That being said, the hustle is what you can't control. So control your grind and control your life. I'm Alex.
And I'm Ono Sinde.
That's the show, y'all.
Peace.
Thank you so much for checking out this episode. Make sure you visit hustleovereverything.co and cop some fire merch that we have in the store. And then we'll see you in the next episode.